Hey everybody, ABC 10 meteorologist Brendan Menchef here with an extended weather update because our first round of rain has arrived, but there's more to come. This is, again, just the first round. As we look towards the weekend, we've got another band of rain on the way in. And in fact, this will likely be heavier rain when we get Friday into Saturday. But let's talk about what we've seen so far. Here's a zoomed out view across the state. Most of the rain really has been in Northern California, right along Interstate 80 in the capital region out in the Bay Area. And we haven't seen a lot of snow with this storm. Snow levels have been pretty high so far. But with the second round coming in a couple of days, we're likely to see more snow falling. So, yeah, it's been a pretty good system so far. It's really just rained on Wednesday, from about Wednesday around lunchtime or so, and will continue through the late evening hours, tapering off as we go through the overnight. And it's already dropped about 1/10 of an inch of rain for some places. In other areas, we've seen quite a bit more. But again, that's just the first round. This system up here and the cold front kind of trails down this way, brought that rain with it. Here's our next system way out in the Pacific, and you can see where that atmospheric river is. It's pushing all this moisture right in towards Northern California by the time we get towards about Friday, Saturday. And this one could technically be called a Pineapple Express because the atmospheric river is originating in or near Hawaii. If an atmospheric river originates, say, down here, maybe in the eastern Pacific, right off the coast of California, if it just kind of pulls it right up along the coast like what we saw a few weeks ago, it's an atmospheric river, but not technically a Pineapple Express because a Pineapple Express, again, has to originate near Hawaii. So every Pineapple Express is an atmospheric river, but not every atmospheric river is a Pineapple Express. We hear that a lot in the comments, and there is technically a definition associated with Pineapple Express. So there you go. This next one, again, coming in is a Pineapple Express, but so far the rainfall reports that we've seen with just the first storm as of about 6 p.m. Wednesday evening, we see about 0.65 inches, Beale Air Force Base. That by far is the big winner. Beale and about the Yuba City area have seen almost 3/4 of an inch, and again, still raining, and then we're going to get even more in a few days. Grass Valley, almost 1/4 of an inch. Modesto, Vacaville, 1700ths. Downtown Sacramento, 1300ths. Roseville, 1200ths. Lodi, about 1/10 of an inch. Same in Davis, Stockton, and Folsom, each seen about 5/100ths of an inch of rain so far. Tomorrow, for Thursday, we're in between systems, so we're going to have a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures are going to be quite a bit above seasonal in those low to middle 60s. The average high is 55 degrees. We're going to be about 62 Sacramento, 64 in Elk Grove, 65 Stockton, 63 Modesto, 50s and 60s in the foothills, and about 50 degrees up in the high country, out in the Bay Area. Chance of showers, mostly dry, but there's that chance of showers, highs in the middle 60s. Here's Futurecast, and so overnight tonight, as we go through the late evening into the overnight, we dry out mostly. We do have some scattered showers in the overnight hours, and then tomorrow afternoon, this is what Futurecast looks like, just a mix of sun and clouds. It'll be likely a mostly cloudy day for most of the day, but that's not to say we won't see more sunshine than clouds for a couple of hours throughout the daytime. But it is a temporary pause in the rain, because when we get to Friday, especially in the evening hours, that next cold front arrives. Is going to bring us cooler temperatures, also going to bring us some pretty heavy rain. Some of these may be thunderstorms as well as they move in for the Friday evening commute. That's going to go ahead and pass through, and then that colder air arrives in the Sierra, and it's really going to lower those snow levels. Could go as low as about 5,500 to 6,000 feet, which would bring us some storm impacts at pass level for sure. And then across the valley, we're going to see that scattered rain continue through about Saturday morning before starting to taper off Saturday afternoon. So we'll zoom in and kind of take a look at it again. Wednesday evening, most of the heavy rain now down in the lower San Joaquin Valley and into the foothills near Jackson, Arnold, Sonora. And then we do see likely some very high snow up near Kirkwood and well above lake level as well, likely above pass level through the evening hours continues. Drying out through Thursday in the morning, so this is early morning, 2:30, and then maybe we see a scattered shower or two around sunrise. But really, that's like a 10% chance. I really expect we stay dry in and around Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto all day long on Thursday. Maybe a few showers out in the Bay Area, but in the valley, dry conditions are expected. Just some clouds. It's not until Friday, and most of Friday will be dry as well, but it's not until Friday late afternoon into those early evening hours that the rain starts to move in ahead of that cold front. Heavy rain for the morning, heavy rain for the evening commute Friday. And that'll continue late into the evening and into Saturday morning as the cold front passes through, lowers those snow levels. Snow starts to fall in the Sierra, and we see rain showers continue in the valley through about lunchtime on Saturday before starting to taper off. When it's all said and done, by the time we get to Sunday, we'll see about another ½ an inch to 1.5 inches in the valley, likely a little on the lower side. I think when it's all said and done, we see 1 inch of rain total. And then in parts of the northern foothills, we'll see more, especially up near Beale, right? That's where those numbers with this first storm, which is a weaker storm, that's where those numbers have been impressive so far. Coastal range, of course, it gets the brunt of the impact always, so we're going to see about 3+ inches for most of the coastal range. Again, in the valley, in ½ an inch to 1.5 inches, and I expect we'll be a little bit on that lower side from about ½ an inch to 1 inch of rain. Here's the snow that we were talking about. Not a lot of snow with this first storm. High snow levels, warmer storm. By the time we get to Sunday, though, we do see likely about a ½ a foot of snow falling at pass level. There you go. The European model has a little bit more on there. About 6 inches Bear Valley, 5 Twin Bridges, 4 in Kirkwood. Ski resorts, once you get above about 6,500 to 7,000 to 7,500 feet, that's when we're really going to start to see those snow numbers stack up. So for ski resorts, especially the high elevation ones, this storm coming in this weekend should be a pretty decent one, probably the best we've seen so far this year, which we need the snow, so that's a good thing. Here are those snow levels with this first storm today. We've seen them about 7,000 to 7,500 feet, really not any impacts at pass levels so far to speak of. By Friday, though, it does lower once that cold front comes through. So most of the day, we're going to be dry on Friday. You're not going to notice anything even in the valley. It's going to be dry. It's once that cold front comes through, so really late Friday, and then that pushes that moisture into the high Sierra. That's when those snow levels come down. So about 5,500 feet. I do expect we see impacts at pass level with this second storm for the weekend. And then for as much snow as we get on Saturday, snow levels stay at about 5,500 feet as well. I would give or take about 500 on this. Could be closer to 6,000 feet. Could be a little closer to 5. Generally, 5,500 is that ballpark that we're going with right now. I don't see it any lower than that. It's not a particularly cold storm. It is an atmospheric river storm after all, bringing in that tropical moisture. So again, not expecting super low snow levels. Excuse me. Not expecting super low snow levels, my goodness, with this incoming storm this weekend, right about 5,500 feet. But again, if you're going to be driving on 80 or 50, do expect some impacts, likely chain controls at pass level. If you're going to a ski resort this weekend, same story. It is definitely going to be snowy up there. For the New Year's forecast, this is Sunday, December 31st, Monday, January 1st, about 56 for New Year's Eve. Cloudy throughout the daytime and the evening. I really don't expect to see a lot of sunshine on New Year's Eve. We're going to be kind of on the tail end of that storm. It'll be kind of clearing out, transitioning back from cooler and wetter and towards slightly warmer and also much drier. So just not a lot of clear skies. Technically not even supposed to have a lot of fireworks. But you wouldn't be able to see them very well anyway on New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, though, if you have any plans for that Monday, it will be much more sunny. Mostly sunny day expected, those clouds clearing out through the morning hours, and highs just a little bit above average for the time of year. But let's look a little bit beyond this. Let's look out towards the middle part of January a little bit. And we do that by looking at the Pacific North American pattern. This is a good indicator, not a guarantee, but a good indicator of what we can expect, what the overall pattern might have in store for us here in Northern California. And right now it is pretty strongly positive. That positive P&A means we're typically warmer and drier, and that's what we are. It doesn't mean we're always warmer and drier, as evidenced by the rain we have now and through the weekend, but generally that means warmer storms, shorter wet periods. We return to dry conditions pretty quickly, as high pressure has a lot to say about our overall pattern. But that negative P&A is typically a cooler and weather pattern for us because there's less influence of that high pressure. So that's how you get the positive and negative variations of the P&A. Positive, high pressure sitting overhead. Negative, high pressure is more over the Gulf of Alaska. And what we see as we go through first, second week of January is we actually start to transition towards a negative P&A setup, a negative P&A regime, which typically is cooler and wetter and kind of opens that storm door, if you will. Put differently, here's what the P&A means for us. When it's positive, we've got a high pressure overhead and the low pressure out near the Gulf of Alaska. So if this is a door, you can think of it as closed for the most part because any atmospheric rivers trying to move in, any low pressures trying to drop down, has to contend with the high pressure and usually gets forced up north of us. Now, we can still get a P&A regime, a positive one, where the high pressure is a little bit further to the south. So the door's not technically closed. It's just a little harder for storms to make their way in. Kind of what we've got set up right now, where it's just kind of these low pressures coming on through very quickly, bringing some cooler air and kind of just trailing the rain in behind it. Maybe they move through the Pacific Northwest and the cold front comes through. If the high pressure is a little further south, that's kind of what we got with this storm. So we still have positive P&A, but we can get some rain out of it. But when it shifts negative, the storm door is a lot more open, if you will, because if that's the door, well, now it's not even there, right? It's open. The high pressures out of the Gulf of Alaska, wetter, cooler patterns as low pressures can drop down from about British Columbia, Alberta, drop down over the west coast, and it can really bring in that atmospheric river. It doesn't have to go up and over any high pressure systems. In fact, it's just kind of fed right in to the west coast. So it's good news when we move to a negative P&A. Good news for rain and Sierra snow. But it is El Nino after all, which is a bit of a double-edged sword here in Northern California. Typically, our wettest winters are when we have an El Nino, and particularly when we have a stronger El Nino, which is what we've got. You look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, and it is textbook El Nino just off the coast of Ecuador, Colombia, all the way out across the equatorial Pacific. It's bright red to dark red, and that means that Nino 3.4 index, which that 3.4 region is kind of generally where this white box is here. It's plus 1.56 degrees Celsius, zero positive. We'll put it this way. Positive values mean El Nino, negative values mean La Nina. And we were in a La Nina winter last year, transitioning to an El Nino winter this year, and we had a lot of rain out of it. This year, or this winter specifically, we are pretty solidly in El Nino, and our rainiest months are right now, December, January, and February. So we still have 2/3 of our rainiest months to go, and an El Nino setup and a more favorable P&A just around the corner. All good news for the chances of rain. So as we look at the next 10 days, rain chances Friday and Saturday. That's most of what we talked about there with those snow levels, about 5,500 to, we'll say 6,500 feet. And then Sunday for New Year's Eve, last day of the year, we dry out, which is good news. And then Monday, we're likely sunny for New Year's Day, with a few rain chances to come as we work our way into 2024. And again, that P&A becomes a little bit more favorable for us. ABC 10 Plus is the place to see all these weather updates, these in-depth forecasts. We've got a weather playlist there. Very easy. Download it on your Apple TV, Roku, or Fire TV. You find the weather playlist, you find these in-depth forecasts and our weather specials as well. Mega flood, water wasted, and the California drought series. It's all there on ABC 10 Plus.